For this video criticism, we will examine David Lynch's Eraserhead through the historical and psychoanalytical approach. Eraserhead portrays the twisted life of a clerical worker, Henry Spencer, who bore a deformed baby with his girlfriend Mary X. They thus got married, yet Mary soon left because of the baby's unbearable cries. Several bizarre events ensued, including a lady dancing in the radiator, crushing overgrown sperm, the man in the planet pulling levers, and Henry's head being converted into an eraser. David Lynch is an innovative director acclaimed for his many successful movies, such as Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, and The Elephant. When he commenced working on Eraserhead in 1972, Lynch attended an art school in a bleak portion of Philadelphia. Around the same time, gender roles were shifting, as women's employment increased due to the economic downturn. The two events seemed to have given Lynch inspiration for Eraserhead. Notable characters include Henry Spencer, played by Jack Nance, Mary X, by Charlotte Stewart, The Beautiful Girl Across the Hall, by Judith Anna Roberts, and The Lady in the Radiator, by Laurel Neer. The first lens is the historical approach, which looks at Lynch's background and his objective in creating the work, the effect of the women's liberation movement at the time, the impact of social customs in terms of masculinity and domestic responsibilities, the predominant philosophy of the dominant male, and the special circumstances in which the work was written. The movie's context was alluded to through several characters and events. For example, Mary, who was forced to marry Henry due to their progeny, can be considered, at first, a candidate for the archetypal housewife who is bound to her husband due to family responsibilities and financial dependency. Later in the movie, Mary decides to leave Henry, giving him the supposed role of a domestic housewife to take care of the baby as she exerts apathy.
I can't stand it, I'm going home!
Hence, Mary rather represents how men perceived the employed woman during the movement, with the apprehension of domestic responsibilities, freedom laws, and etc. At the end of the movie, as Henry ends the baby's life, which symbolizes the bond between himself and Mary, he is liberated by the lady in the radiator from his traditional thinking of masculinity. The scenes successfully depict the gender role shift through the manifestations and behavior of the characters. Although the historical approach explains how characters change as per the women's liberation movement, it fails to explain Henry, who is considered the more feminized man, as suggested by his clerical occupation. Hence, we must examine the movies psychoanalytically to understand Henry's liberation. As for the second lens, the psychoanalytical approach looks at the connection between Lynch's life and the characters' behaviors and motivations. What is revealed from the author's imaginative life, from the characters, their relationships, actions, and motivations, and how Freudian theory helps us understand the motivations of characters. The Sigmund Freud's theory, in a nutshell, states that the adult personality is made up of three aspects: the ID, which operates on the pleasure principle within the unconscious, the ego, which operates on the reality principle within the conscious realm, and the superego, which operates on the morality principle at all levels of consciousness. And that one mental state is influenced by two forces: the cathexis, which is an investment of energy in a person, idea, or object, and the anti-cathexis, a significant investment of energy in using the ego to block the ID's immoral needs. As seen throughout the movie, Henry, a rather timid man, is manipulated by the women around him. Most notable instances include when the beautiful girl across the hall offered intercourse to stay at Henry's place, and when he submitted to Mary's mother's sexual harassment. This is indicative of Lynch's changing sexual interest at the time. If the cause of the incidents were to be traced, the deformed baby would manifest itself as the culprit. Hence, in the context of the film, it symbolizes the male reproductive organ, whose demands are insatiable, as signified by its incessant crying, which caused Mary to leave and disturbed Henry and his neighbors private moment together. In Freudian terms, Henry's personality is dictated by his ID, with little effort for anti-cathexis. Its excessive demands led Mary to leave Henry to preserve her sanity and disturbed Henry's and his neighbor's private moment together. The events hence show how significant yet destructive intercourse is in the human psyche. This explains the reason the lady in the radiator, who dwells in a heaven Henry seeks but cannot have, as evident through her second appearance, crushed sperms while remaining jovial, as to suggest to Henry that attainment of heaven requires abandoning extravagant sexual desires. Hence, the baby's demise translates Henry's release from sensualism and thus his liberation, which is seen at the end of the movie. Although many would argue that the baby represents the fear of parenting, this theory proves short when the final scene is analyzed. Set in a mechanized world in which bewildering, dreamlike events occur, Eraserhead lives up to its surreal nature. Subconsciously, the film was able to imbue discomfort in viewers through its settings, lighting, and sound. Throughout the movie, everything seems to have the desire to suffocate the viewer, from the immense stature of gloomy buildings and the Death Star shots of the planet to the lifelessness of the twig in Henry's apartment or the X family's garden. In addition, the appearance of the man in the planet, a grotesque abomination of men in the mechanized world, only worsens how the planet's state is perceived. Furthermore, the background industrial noise, the blend of Bill's voice into the sounds of railways, and the chicken that spews fluid also strike horror and repulsion.
Change from pastures to the hellhole it is now. I'd put every damn pipe in this
world, supposedly created from humans' indulgence of their ID, can only lead to the culmination of existence. With its desolate settings and industrial noise, the film ushers the viewer into a perverse, seemingly dying world, to contrast with the bright environment in the end. This effectively helps convey the message of the self-destructive nature of extravagant sensuality. Eraserhead is a surreal film made on a relatively low budget of $10,000, yet was able to evoke a multifaceted interpretation from different viewers. Through the movie, Lynch subtly reflected on the women's liberation movement of his time, while showing maud-eaten and destructive nature of traditional masculinity. With its horrid settings and sound design, which was highly praised, Eraserhead amplified the delivery of its message. Hence, it is recommended for anyone who can handle disturbing images, as any experience will be unique.